Showtime, Shawn Porter, Adrian Broner. Look, this fight is coming up June 20th. The MGM Grand, when the last fight that took place there, for most people, was not fan friendly. But for the real fans who understand and don't follow boxing just on Mega Fight Night, the real, solid, true boxing fans, those who are true to the game, Monday through Sunday, well, that fight was a classic due to the fact that it brought numbers to epic proportions, and it's not just about the numbers when it comes down to fights for the true fight diehard fans. I mean, those who talk boxing, those who live boxing, those who breathe boxing every single day of their lives. First of all, before I get into this topic with Shawn Porter and Adrian the Problem Broner, which that name is befitting for some reason, and I'll get into it in a couple of minutes into the show. My name is Eric Bradley, aka The Fight Doctor, in the world of boxing. And I thank you guys for watching, and right now you're watching Master Boxing. And this is where we break the fight world down, round by round. So, first and foremost, the matchup. I do a physical matchup where I demonstrate who's going to be in the best position to win the fight when it comes down to conditioning, when it comes down to mental fortitude, when it comes down to intestinal fortitude, when it comes down to living, breathing, identifying what it takes to be a champion. I break that down, and it's a great segment, so be sure to look for that later on this week. We'll say Thursday, just to be safe, because you need to see that matchup prior to this fight. And if you're going to bet, and if you're going to lean towards one of the fighters, and you need to know all the details, that's what I do. I break it down. I only give facts. I'm not biased when it comes down to it. I mean, sometimes I like a fighter, but I do tell the truth. I don't play the game that way. Like I said, I was a coach, and coaches have to understand how to play the middle. Just like the announcers on television, you know, they may play basketball or football, whatever, so be it. They have to find a way to play the middle ground regardless if you do like someone or not. So that's what I bring, making sure that everybody's playing with it on an even playing field, and that you have all the facts that are necessary to judge the fight. So the information that I have right now to lay in front of you is what's going to be compelling in this fight. And when you think of Adrian Broner, you think of a talented kid, someone who can truly take boxing just on his, you know, the character that he uses or utilizes to gain fame. That can bring numbers, and numbers aren't always great, but when it's all said and done, he can fight. And when you look at a pure athlete, there's somebody in your neighborhood that you grew up with that had a lot of talent, but they may not have made it to the top. That's sort of the story with Adrian Broner, but flip it. He had talent, but he made it. But the thing about that is, with the talent you have, you can make it to become known, and you can make it to titles. But becoming legendary and becoming one of the guys that goes down in the Hall of Fame as one of the greatest to ever done it. When you talk about the likes of Pernell Whitaker, when you talk about Salvador Sanchez, who had an early career, you know, his life was taken, but what he did while he had the opportunity. It's just like when rappers compare, you know, people that are doing it for longevity like Jay-Z with people who did it for a very short time like Biggie. Biggie did it so impactfully that you have to mention him amongst the best to ever have done it in the rap game, even though his stint was extremely short because his life was taken. You look at Adrian Broner, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's video floating around of him in a strip club swinging and popping bottles. You know, Shawn Porter is a real fighter. Shawn Porter is one of the top fighters in the game. The thing about Shawn Porter is he was a pugilist boxer, because sometimes when guys are short like that in stature with athleticism, they learn to box, and they learn to box well. So they bring an amateur-like style into the professional ranks. And when you see his style, it reminds you of an amateur. That's what he used to box like. But once he started taking pages out of Timothy Bradley's book, because that's what he did when he saw that Timothy Bradley fought Devin Alexander with a very mauling style. So when Shawn Porter fought Devin Alexander, which he had already fought Devin Alexander in the amateurs and had lost to him, but he promised that this would be a different story, and he proved that it would be a different story. He used the bullying tactics to actually steamroll. I mean, he literally steamrolled Devin Alexander with that pit bull style. And I think he fell in love with the style, so he had taken a page out of Timothy Bradley's book because that's what Timothy Bradley did when he fought Devin Alexander. This worked. So he kind of made that his style, because prior to that he was fighting Julio Diaz. He was boxing more, moving head, slipping, pivoting, spinning, stepping. He was doing all the things that you do in the amateurs, which is why amateur boxing is more tantalizing than the professional ranks, because there's more skill set being displayed. Well, needless to say, during that training camp, one of my fighters, Rashad Holloway, was in the camp with Shawn Porter due to the fact that he was supposed to get his career back going, and he was flying out east to be in a fight, and I was going to assist him with that. But what happened is the guy pulled out. Rashad had that happen several times. Rashad is a 6 foot welterweight, and he's a problem. So, God works in mysterious ways. During that time, he decided to go out to Vegas. He was training out there, and what happened is when they got the news that the fight wasn't going down, he was definitely upset. But Kenny Porter went ahead and invited Rashad to be in camp with Shawn Porter. So Rashad was in that camp. He was actually in the ring with him that night, and they won the title, beating Devin Alexander. I understand the likes of a Shawn Porter